Okay, good afternoon. David,
Coach.
please. All right.
Hey, Mike, can you talk a little bit more about what you're doing with these sessions on Friday? And are they basically modeled the same way with what you do during the season, or are they expanded a little bit more?
I would say it's similar. I mean, it's meetings in the morning and an extensive mock game where we're able to still basically today we had 3 in a row, so we were able to review the last 3 installs on the offensive defensive work. And then I think we had 40 plays of game management. So we're actually broke down to, like a 50-40 split between offense, defense, scheme, correction, cleanup, and then game management. So we're just pushing forward to get as much as we can, in the teaching component of game management as we possibly can. It's something we felt like it's a bigger focus this year. Then we have the state program afterwards, and then we'll finish with a team meeting.
How did your quarterbacks do with that yesterday?
What do you?
And handling things yesterday.
Oh no, they do an excellent job, and we have a chance to. We had the meetings this morning. We had a team meeting, and then we actually review what's coming. As far as by video and instruction, and then we rep it on the field. So yeah, quarterbacks do an excellent job.
It wasn't like Dak was sat idly by yesterday. How busy was he yesterday? And he kind of joked that he got a lot of conditioning work in.
He had a lot of conditioning work. I think Brett actually worked him too much. But yeah, his conditioning was high, so I think it just points to what kind of shape he's in. But he did the mock game today. He's done everything that was asked today. He just except throw. So and we don't need to really throw the ball that much in the mock game, anyways.
When you look at your future schedule and practice and going to Canton, do you have could Dak start throwing again on Tuesday before y'all leave?
Really, that's probably a better question for Monday. I'm hopeful that he continues to progress throughout the weekend, and I think we're going to reassess Monday morning.
How do you balance that? Because you have Tuesday and then you wouldn't throw again for another 3 days. Weighing the benefit of putting 4 more days on top of it versus doing something. Is it just strictly if he can throw, he can throw?
I mean, David, honestly, I'm just going to let the rehab process answer that question. I mean, I'm really focused on him getting back where, it's not an issue. We definitely would bring him back later than sooner, from a mindset as far as, the way we look at it. So if that's Monday, great. But, we'll just have to wait after Monday, because obviously Monday's the off day. But we'll see what Monday brings us.
When you say you think he did a little too much yesterday, was that something like the GPS numbers were showing you, or just something from feel, and how will that impact who you expect the next week?
I'd love to share all that detailed information with you, but I probably shouldn't. But that was a joke. That was a bad one, though. But he had a lot of work. Had high GPS numbers, so I think. But I know they just really pushed it yesterday out there. So, Britt and Dak have been working exclusively, and I just think, like anything, he doesn't want to lose. He doesn't want to lose any of the conditioning as he goes through this period. Because the team periods are so beneficial, all the way around. Particularly in the way you look at the conditioning.
Anything stand out yesterday from the emphasized run game work and practice?
I don't know. What'd you think? I talked, 1 back, 2 back. Yeah, good stuff. Phone booth football, the receivers don't understand why we put 22 guys all together like that, but you need it. No, it was good work. I enjoyed it. I think you have to, you need more of that today than you probably have the chance to practice it. But I really liked all the 2 back, phone booth football that we were able to get in yesterday.
Look for with your run defense in training camp and preseason, maybe in camp when it's not live, to see how they're progressing.
Well, the most important thing is is the timing, the footwork, getting the blocking schemes in sync, particularly the zone blocking. That's usually the first that comes together. You get more into the pattern concepts where you're pulling a guard or a center or tackle, angle pull. So that the timing of that and the way the back fits, it just takes time to get it synchronized. And it's no different for the defense, that they're fitting, they're hitting their targets, and their ability to keep their gap integrity and run off the block. And so this is what training camp's for. I mean, we just need the work. I mean, we look like a team that's practiced 2 days in pads. I mean, that's where we are. It's not abnormal, but this is why you have training camp.
You had a lot of emphasis on the run game, yet CD found a way to stand out
Yeah.
with a couple touchdown catches. Does he continue to impress you, or you just expect those things from that defense?
I mean, that's good observation because then he also creates one-on-one situations. You know, you get into those type of 4-minute situations, and you know the backed up series was good work. But you know the ability to create the one-on-one outside with all that room, you know, that definitely plays to CD's strength because his ability to, you know, not only burst but you know drop his weight and you know particularly the double move routes and yes, but yeah, creating one-on-ones for all those guys. I mean, it definitely gives them a lot more room to work.
How is Anthony Brown responding to all the competition in the cornerback room, and especially with all the veterans coming
I
here?
think Anthony looks great. I mean, number one, I think he's had a tremendous offseason. I mean, you look at the, you know, the weight and the size that he's put on. He's, you know, his weight is up in a good way from last year. So I think Anthony's having an outstanding camp.
Maurice Kennedy,
Yeah.
did you have any idea when OTA started what you really had in him, and over the course of camp, what have you kind of come to see about him and his style of play?
You know, I did not. Maurice has been because you know because obviously wasn't here last year and then he came back off the knee surgery. So the thing that really excites me about him is his instincts and ball skills. I mean his ability to play, you know, with the anticipation. He's made some plays on the ball. So I've been very impressed with what he has shown so far.
You guys have a lot of corners. I know you don't need to make a decision on a 53-man roster today, but how difficult do you anticipate that decision will be with all the competition that's there?
Well, you want it to be difficult, but yeah, I think history will tell you. I mean, and particularly, you know, the last 10 years, you know, sub offense and defense has gone up so much. The quarterback position is stressed more. You look at the course. My point is, you need all of them. I mean, you can't have enough corners. Corners are playing more. You know, they're playing more on special teams. They're playing more on the sub package groups. So, I think it's healthy, but. You know, I don't know if I've ever had a year that your cornerbacks haven't been stressed from a health challenge in the last 10 years. I think that's just, you know, the numbers. It's the number that they play a lot more. The space of today's NFL it's a lot more challenging for those guys.
What's the highest number of corners you've ever had on a 53-man roster?
Well, I think you look at it more secondary. You know, I mean, I've been involved where you know the traditional used to be 10, and then I've seen it as high as 12. You know, so you can make an argument it could be 13 if you just look at pure numbers on who plays in the game. So to me, the players in the competition of camp and preseason game answers that because I mean you really want the competition to decide the final roster, and I never really looked at it as the 53. I think it'll be 68 with the practice squad. So. We're going to need all those guys, and so it's healthy, and you know, I think I've already said it, you can't have enough corners.
When you start thinking about the 53 or 68 or whatever number you want to put on, is that part of your daily meetings? Is it something you wait till the game starts before you start worrying about those sort of things?
I don't, and you know, frankly, Ted Thompson taught me that. He thought it was a bad habit to get into to try to, you know, you start doing that too early, you may miss. You may miss on a guy, you know, so it's important to really give everybody credit. I think we all, you know, look at the board and continue to rank guys, you know, to keep, you know, make sure you're in tune with the numbers. But I've never been one to sit down and start picking your team in the second week of training camp. And I don't think it's healthy. I don't think it's the best process.
Robinson back the corner. Reggie Robinson, how has he looked so far?
He's doing well. I mean, I think he's definitely more comfortable. You know, I think that, you know, the fact of, you know, especially when he's switching, he's a lot more competitive, and I think he was thinking too much last year, and that was part of the position change. So, you know, I'm looking for him to take advantage not only of his corner opportunities, but you know, he really needs to you know, grab a hold of the special teams opportunities also.
What are your thoughts on Dan Quinn, just in terms of what he's doing in practice, what he's doing in meetings, what he's trying to achieve with the team?
Super impressed with Dan and what he's done. I think like anything, you know, with coordinator, you have to get your staff right. And that's such a big part of this, and frankly, it's the hardest part. You know, the player relationships I think we all enjoy that. You can see how he's brought the room together, but. You know, going back to when he first arrived, just the extra meetings, the extra time that he put with the staff, you're definitely starting to see the benefits of it. Because when the staff's right, the relationships with the players are better, and the communication's better. Your whole process is better. So Dan's doing a fantastic job.
Was that an issue last year?
There's nothing we're talking about this year. No, complimenting Dan on the job he's doing.
Now, after driving your truck off the road when learning about Hard Knocks, now that you've been here and worked with it a couple of weeks, has it been less intrusive than maybe you were concerned it would be? Are there times you don't notice they're there? How is that going?
The staff's wonderful, but I think the fact that I almost wrecked my truck definitely reflects the challenge that it brings. No, it's just different. It'll always be that way. But I think our guys, the most important thing is you can't let it be a distraction, and it hasn't been for our football team, hasn't been for the players and the coaching and the support operations, and that's really the most important thing to me. They can't make it any easier for you. They're very accommodating. They're very professional. That part is refreshing. But it's the facts of the matter. I think in just life in general, if you put a group of men, 120 men into a room, and you have a conversation of some things you want to do it this way, the camaraderie, the language, the behavior is definitely a little different when there's not a camera. I think that's the facts of the matter. So that's the only downside of it. So, but it hasn't affected our camp, hasn't affected anything we had to do with preparation.
Malik Turner didn't play a lot last year. Why did you bring him back, and what have you seen in the receiver, him as a receiver here this year?
I tell you what, Malik said he's just a really good, well-rounded football player. I think if you see his workload alone each and every day, he really puts out, both as a receiver position and special teams. So he's very well-rounded. It's a very competitive room. When I look at Malik and Noah and Cedric, and you got three guys that can just run into any situation, any position, on low reps. All those things that you look for in your receiver, because you want diversity. Because when the players can play multiple positions, it gives the coaching staff schematically, an advantage of trying to create better matchups.
Three receivers as good as you do at the top of that rotation, does it alter what you look for in the other two spots, or is it always just what those individuals can bring?
See, I've always looked at the receiver position as you want them all to be able to play all three, 4 positions. Because with that, to go beat the great defenses, your 4th and 5th matchup have to win. You have to win regularly, because the good defenses are going to, they're going to line up and tilt the coverage or tilt the field to try to take away 1 and 2. And if you just look at the great offenses in this league the last decade, it's the teams that have the 3rd and 4th, and potentially the 5th matchup. And that's what you always want. And that's just the way I've always viewed the receiver position.
How flexible in terms of wide receiver positions has Noah Brown been, and what kind of camp has he had thus far?
Ditto. Noah's that guy. Noah's that player that can play any position. He's outstanding on special teams. He's as tough as the guy that we have on our roster. So I love Noah Brown. I love the way he plays. I love the way he goes about it. So he gives us great flexibility.
How competitive does that QB target game get between the guys, you think?
It's okay. I've seen, I think it picks up. It's a great game. It's fun, because I think it's like anything. You give these guys a chance to compete in anything, they're going to compete. But yeah, they do a good job with it.
Mike, we hear about how the defense has disguises, how you want to be multiple, and then we also hear Leighton Vander Esch say yesterday this more 4-3 foundation scheme is what he feels like he was drafted to play. What's the art to making guys feel like this is the scheme they're comfortable in, while also pushing them to try different things?
Well, I think it's the scheme is part of it, but it's really it's the fundamentals within the scheme, the consistency of it. It's just you just don't, you want to make sure you're asking them to do enough for not only them to be successful, the defense can be successful, but it's really the comfort and how they fit. And that's the beauty of having multiple personnel groups, but the ability to teach both offense and defense, I look at the same. you design things by concept. If you stay in a concept-driven approach, it gives you the ammunition to get into game plans and line up each and every week. And I think with that, when you take that approach as a coach, it really simplifies things for the players. And you can just see the way we're playing so much faster right now, and but we can play even faster. So, and that's really the ultimate goal. But guys are having a clear understanding, and the communication is getting better each and every day, and we just got to keep building on it.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you.